Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online and welcome to daily current affairs session. So we will cover the current affairs of yesterday and today because there is a lot of public holidays this week like Ugadi, and then tomorrow again we have Ramzan, right? So we have a lot of public holidays, that's why we were not able to conduct the sessions on those particular days. Anyway, we are covering the current affairs of those missed days along with the current day, right? So we will see the current affairs of 9th as well as 10th April for today's session. Briefly, what are all the articles that we are going to cover today? We will see them in linear manner. Okay. So total solar eclipse which has happened in only select two regions of the world, that is North America. We will see what actually is eclipse and what is solar eclipse, and also we will see what is lunar eclipse briefly, right? Then glycemic index, there was an article in the Hindu about the role of glycemic index with regard to the diabetes in the humans, right? So we'll see that impact as well after knowing the what actually is glycemic index. And then Mangal Pande, one of the freedom fighters, we can say, during the 1857 revolt against British. So it's been on April 8th he was hanged. We will see briefly what his contribution, and then we will come to his role as well. Okay. Then Botswana elephant problem. Botswana is a country in the Africa, southern Africa. So we'll see what is the problem with related to the elephants, right? So this is also related to the international as well as ecological news, environmental news. So it will be asked in the exam. And then Indo-Pacific economic framework for prosperity. So an international organization or an agreement, we can say, which was signed by 14 countries. We will see why it is there in news, and we will also see the important facts. Then Igla-S systems, missile defense system, we will see that as well. Climate change as a fundamental right, which was declared by the Supreme Court a few days back. So this is again very important. We will see what actually is a fundamental right in very brief manner, and then we will see on what context the Supreme Court has announced this. Then master shipyard repair agreement. We will see this as well between India and USA. Then some factual pointers. Finally, practice questions from the topics that we are going to cover, right? So I hope you all are ready. If you have any queries, you can ask here in the comment section. Okay. Yeah, very good evening. Santosh Srinath Dointila Malni. Welcome to the session. So the first article that we are going to cover is the total solar eclipse. So it is a very conceptual thing. You need to understand, you need to visualize rather than blindly remembering the facts. Whatever I am saying, how the sun, moon as well as earth move around each other, and what is the formation, how it is formed based on the location of those bodies, right? So try to visualize with relate to the concepts that I am going to discuss. So the context is on April 8th. Total solar eclipse was seen in the North American continent, including the Mexico, USA, and then some parts of Canada as well, right? So here we will, the context has been taken. Before going to know what actually is a total solar eclipse, what is very, very basic thing, what is the eclipse, right? So an eclipse means, you can see in the space we have a number of bodies, right? So universe has number of space bodies, and these space bodies are located in very discarded manner. So if there is any temporary obstruction, say for example this is one body in the space, it can be anything. There is no need that it is only Earth. It can be any planet, it can be any star, it can be anything space object. So if there is any two space objects located from some x distance, right? So this is B, this is A. This is body A or the object A, and then this one is object B. Any temporary obstruction made by other space object between these two is called as an eclipse, right? So eclipse means a temporary objection, right, or any temporary discontent made by any other space body between these two already existing space bodies. So this body may come here because of various reasons, still scientific reasons are going on, the space objects keep on moving. So this object will come in between for temporary period, and then it will move somewhere else. So this temporary phenomena where there was an obstruction, right, obstruction between these two bodies, it is called as the eclipse. So it is a very general concept. It is not applicable only to earth, moon or sun. It can be anything in the space. So that is called as the eclipse, right? Now, with regard to the earth, we have two type of eclipse. Solar eclipse and then lunar eclipse. So eclipse is a general concept between any bodies, and earth specifically has two obstructions. One is solar eclipse, second one is lunar eclipse. So these two occurs when there is a phenomena of line between earth, moon and sun. So let me tell you, earth is a planet of, right, planet around the sun. Take example here. So this is, here I have some space to describe, that's why I have put this. So this is sun, right, this is sun, and around that earth is revolving. So this is earth. Understand the concept, then only you will be able to understand what actually is a solar and lunar eclipse and why it happens, what is total solar eclipse. Everything you can understand only if you know the basics. So sun is stationary in this particular position, earth as a planet is revolving around the sun. Similarly, moon is also being revolving around the earth. Like how earth is revolving around the sun, moon is also revolving around the earth, right? So whenever these are in the same line, so moon can be here once and then after 14 days maybe here, right? So if there is any, this is one obstruction, right? When moon is coming between earth and sun, it is also eclipse, right? Because it is also creating some obstruction. Similarly, moon can be here and earth can be in between sun and moon. So this is also a type of obstruction, only that the names are changed, solar and lunar, that we will see. Just the eclipse is, if earth between sun and moon there is an earth, so obstruction is there, that is one type of eclipse. And if moon reaches here after revolving after certain time, so this is also creating obstruction between sun and earth. So this is a concept of the eclipse, right? So the earth is involved in two type of eclipse, that is solar eclipse and then lunar eclipse, right? Is this clear what is actually the eclipse and how they are facing, how earth is facing two types of eclipse? If you are clear with this, then I will go to explain what actually is a solar eclipse and what actually is a lunar eclipse. Is this clear? Someone please respond so that I can move ahead. Without understanding very basic things, it is very difficult to understand, right? I hope this is clear. Let's move to the first one, that is solar eclipse, right? So observe here the video, the movement that is happening, right? Yeah, great. Thank you, Malini. So see here, this is earth and this is sun. And earth and moon does not have any light on their own, only that sun rays are coming towards earth and moon is coming in between. Sometimes moon can be here and earth is also obstructing, right? Now understand here this diagram, I will make it into very small parts because this involves lot of things and you need to know each and everything to answer this type of questions in the exam. If you don't understand the concepts, if you mug up the things in the exam, you will confuse and you will mark the wrong, right? So see here, this diagram is to make you understand. Now come to this particular thing, this particular diagram, right? So here we have a sun and then moon. So this is called as the solar eclipse. Solar eclipse happens when moon obstructs the sunlight towards reaching the earth, right? So I am repeating again, solar eclipse happen when moon comes in between earth and sun and obstructing certain sunlight not to reach towards the earth. You take one torchlight, okay, you can take one torchlight as an example, I am just making you, and keep a ball and between that just keep some small object. So not all the torchlight that you make will go into the bigger ball because there is an object and it will cast a shadow, right? So that's how our shadows are also fall on the land. So whenever there is a object, so if there is a light going on, it will object and cast a shadow, right? So understand here, there are two important things called umbra and penumbra. These two are important. Please try to understand this. Focus on here. When there is a sunlight, and moon is a smaller object than earth. Moon is a smaller object than earth, right? So if the sun rays goes towards this ball and all this amount of diameter, all this size, the sunlight will not reach to the earth, right? So this is called as umbra. And you may ask the question that, sir, why this is the size of, for example, this is the size of moon, but why the casting of the shadow is a smaller one? It should have been this size, then why it is smaller? You may ask this question. So try to understand this. If you are putting a bigger ball and then putting small ball here and then cast the shadow or cast the light, as the distance increases, the diameter of the shadow decreases. This is a physics, right? So try to understand. Here there is a torchlight, right, like sun, and here there is a earth. There is a small ball here. So if you cast the light on this small ball, the size keep on decreasing with the increase of distance. That is a physics thing, right? So the shadow, the small, complete, there is no sunlight at all in this small space. That is called as the umbra. And if you take the other one, sunlight will come here towards the moon and then it casts a smaller shadow. It is like a reflection or refraction, you can say. Light will put on the ball and then it will expand. It is like a refraction. And this will be partially, this is not a direct light, right? So this part, this above part that you are receiving here is a direct, very bright. But the refracted light which is creating small dim light, that is called as the penumbra. So umbra means the complete obstruction of sunlight on the earth because of the moon in between. Complete obstruction. There will be clear darkness. Even if it is a daytime, there will be a clear darkness because the whole moon is obstructing in terms of a small shadow. And there is also a refracted light where it will hit the moon and then it will go towards the certain diameter. That is called as the penumbra, right? So these two you need to understand. Many times they have been asked and many students will keep on confusing with this particular thing. What is umbra and penumbra, right? So this is the thing that I want to tell, right? Within that solar eclipse, we have a umbra and penumbra concepts. Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this umbra and penumbra? Right? So those are, I have just discussed about the solar eclipse first, when moon obstruct the sunlight towards reaching earth. And within that obstruction there are two things, umbra and then penumbra. Umbra is a complete obstruction, penumbra is a partial obstruction. There will be a dim light because of refracted light, not the direct sunlight that is reaching here, right? So refracted light, already moon has observed certain thing, only the dim light will reflect it towards the earth. So these are the two concepts within solar eclipse, right? Great. Next we have so complete total solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse, and then annual solar eclipse. Here yesterday was happened of the total solar eclipse. See, the earth is, the sun is here, understand here, the sun is here, the moon is here, and then I am the earth. So moon is revolving around the earth, and when there is a complete obstruction of sunlight, the complete obstruction of sunlight was observed. So there is no sunlight at all on the moon, on the earth. So that is called as the total solar eclipse. So you can see here, yeah, yesterday this was happened. So when the moon completely obstruct the sunlight, and this is not happening throughout the earth, okay, this is not happening throughout the earth because 12 hours we have a daytime, 12 hours we have a night time, right? So half of the earth portion, if this is the earth and this is the sun, only the half portion is with the sunlight and other half is backwards, right? Earth also rotating itself. For 24 hours it is rotating. So half of the part is away from the sun. So this part we are not going to receive the sunlight at all. Then there is no concept of solar eclipse because it is already a darkness, the outer side. And this side is experiencing the day. Within this day, when the moon obstructs the sun. So even during the daytime, some spaces will not receive the sunlight even during the daytime. So that is called as the total solar eclipse. So total solar eclipse will not happen for all the earth region. Only certain regions, I have just shown you umbra regions. So only umbra regions will experience the total solar eclipse. And yesterday it was seen in North America continent, right? So this is what happened yesterday. Now, after discussing the total solar eclipse, we also let's see about the lunar eclipse. This is also important for the exam. Many times has been asked, so you need to remember as well. Same concept of umbra and penumbra may happen here as well, right? But here the moon will come out of earth. That means earth is obstructing sunlight to not reach the moon. In solar eclipse, moon is obstructing the sunlight not to reach the earth. But in case of solar eclipse, earth is obstructing not to reach the sunlight towards the moon. So that is called as the lunar eclipse. You can see here. So this is umbra, right, where there is a complete blockage, and this is a penumbra. After sunlight reaching here, there will be a casting also, refracted light, right? So here, if the moon is reaching exactly in this region, then that is called as a lunar eclipse, or total lunar eclipse also we can call it, right? So this is the concept of lunar eclipse. We have seen solar eclipse, we have seen the lunar eclipse, and one important point to be observed here, very, very important, and many times students get confused. This is the sun, right? So this is sun and this is a new moon. So now I am asking you the question, someone please answer. This is earth and this is moon. So is this called as a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse? Tell me. Tell me, this one I am asking the question. Moon is here and earth is here and sun is here. Now this situation, this three situation is called as a solar eclipse or lunar eclipse. Tell me. Moon is in between the earth and sun. So someone said it as a solar eclipse, Malini, very good. And this one is lunar eclipse, right? This one is lunar eclipse, this one is solar eclipse, very good. Santosh, Srinath, Sahanjak, so Sahana has, everyone have answered it. So this is a solar eclipse, this is a lunar eclipse, and one important observation here, please try to understand when I am about to tell this. This is moon, this is earth, and they don't have any sunlight or any light on their own. Only if sun is giving sunlight, they will get the light. So here, this white color part of moon, half of the diameter or half of the moon total will get the sunlight, and this half will be in darkness. This half will be in darkness, and our earth is this side. So on this new moon day, many times you might have observed this, listen this word, new moon and full moon. So new moon means it is during the solar eclipse when half of the moon which is siding towards the sun will have a light and we will see a dark. We will not see any moon that day, right? Complete darkness is observed even in the night. We cannot see the moon because this half side of the moon is not receiving any of the sunlight. So we cannot see, right? So this is a new moon. New moon happens, or the solar eclipse happens when there is a new moon. So now comes the other part. Now the moon will keep on rotating around the earth and then it will reach here. Now see this, sunlight will fall on this half, right? And this half will not be seen because there is no sunlight, opposite to this. So here we can see this. The moon now we can see because the sunlight is reaching and the full complete moon is seen. So during the full moon, we will see the lunar eclipse. This is a very, very important statement. During new moon, we are getting solar eclipse. During the full moon, we are getting the lunar eclipse. These both are a very, very important points, right? So this is the point that I want to tell. Apart from solar and lunar eclipse, you also need to know that solar eclipse is happening during new moon. and then during full moon the lunar eclipse is happening. So solar eclipse is during new moon and lunar eclipse during full moon. So this point also be understood because of the sunlight that is falling on the moon, right? So very important point that we have understood. And yesterday, as I said, this has happened. The moon has completely obstructed the sun, the sunlight not reaching towards the certain regions of earth, that is North America. That is called as the complete or total solar eclipse, right? So this is about the eclipse and solar eclipse, lunar eclipse and new moon, full moon, right? Any doubts in this? Any doubts? So this is a very conceptual in nature, of course, but yes, you need to understand it's a very difficult. Many of the videos I have seen, many of the YouTube videos, but there is no clarity. The tutors say the students keep on confusing. Even in books also, it is just a mention about the diagrams. You need to visualize how the movement is happening and all. Then only you will be able to understand the concept. Umbra, penumbra, you need to understand solar, lunar eclipse, and then new moon, full moon. So everything we have discussed here, right? That's great. Yeah, great, Malini Srinath. Let's move to the next article now. The glycemic index. The glycemic index, right? So this was the article taken from the Hindu. Now, what is the context? The study has proved, that one study conducted by the Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology. So a study was conducted and it has said that there is a strong link between high glycemic index diet and then diabetes. So if there is a high glycemic index, it may cause diabetes, and if it is low glycemic index, it may be little bit safer not to occur with the diabetes, right? So you may be confused or you may not be clear with what is actually this glycemic index and all. Let's come to the context again after discussing the total concept of glycemic index and how it is calculated, right? So just understand that there is a high glycemic index, they may cause the diabetes, right? So just remember that. Now let's move to what actually is a glycemic index. So this is important. For any food, you take fruit, you take egg, you take milk, right? So based on the carbohydrates, very important. The glycemic index is measured based on the carbohydrates, right? For every food, we have vitamins, we have proteins, we have nutrients, we have carbohydrates. Any of the things we have, right? I mean, we have 4 or 5 combinations or 2 combinations. For any food, we will see different combinations. But this glycemic index measures the amount of carbohydrates only. It won't consider vitamins, it won't consider nutrients, it won't consider protein, any other thing. It is only consider about the carbohydrates. So based on the amount of carbohydrates, right, and their effect on blood, that is called as the glycemic index. Let me repeat this. It is a measure that rank any food. You give any food, you give vegetables, you give fruits, you give egg, you give meat. So based on the amount of carbohydrates, how much they are containing, based on that we can rank it, the particular food, as a high glycemic index food or low glycemic index food, right? So which also affect the glucose level after eating, right? So after you consume the fruits, because of the carbohydrates, the amount of carbohydrates, easily converted or least converted, based on that there is a rank, right? So that is called as the glycemic index. You will get more clarity, just wait for few minutes. High glycemic index foods are those which are digested and absorbed by our body very easily. You take like fruit juice, like normal sugar cane juice, for example. So it is easily digestible and easily consumed by our body, right? So it contains high carbohydrates but easily consumed by our body. It means it is high in glycemic index. So if our body is consuming or digesting the food as soon as possible, it means that particular food is having high glycemic index. And if it is not easily digestible, for example, you take any other hard foods like meat, it will take lot of time, right? So that means it have a less glycemic index. The foods which are not easily digestible, those are having the less glycemic index. Now the low and medium glycemic index foods are digest more slowly and causes gradual increase in blood sugar. So let me tell you with the flow chart, you will understand it in a much better way. This is food, some A food, and this is us consuming, right? So if you consume this food which has carbohydrates, right, and easily digestible, this food A is easily digestible and thus converted the sugars much faster, right? So increases the blood sugar levels. Blood sugar levels increases faster way. Consuming food easily digestible, then leading to the immediate production of blood sugar. So blood sugar will rise. So that is called as the high glycemic index. And the other one, low glycemic index, means food is consumed, not easily digestible. It will take slowly, digestion happens for few hours, and then blood sugars are released slowly based on the time, right? It is not a sudden increase in the sugar levels, right? So if you are consuming the foods which are easily digestible and with the high carbohydrates, the glycemic index is high and your sugar levels will increase. So that is what the author want to tell, right? And if you are consuming foods which are not easily digestible, right, slowly body will digest and the sugar levels are not peaked suddenly. It happens on a normal gradual manner. So that is called as the low glycemic index foods. So these are measured between 0 to 100. So it is not like body, this glycemic index is not created by our body. Rather it is measured by us. We have created this glycemic index based on the research on food, that okay, this is a easily digestible one. So it has a high amount of glycemic index. So this glycemic index is created, a concept created by us based on the research that we have done from the food that is being digested in our human body. So it is measured 0 to 100. If it is 100 means immediately digestible, completely digestible, and sugar, blood sugar has peaked suddenly. And if it is 0, that means the food is gradually digested and there is no sugar levels that has been raised because of that particular food, right? So you can see, for example, apple has 39 glycemic index out of 100. So it is a slowly digestible one. It is not a very faster one. And if you take direct sugar, it is 65. So it is immediately, it is digested and then sugar levels are peaked. Similarly, corns, right? Whatever the corn chips that you are consuming, Lay's for example, it has a high glycemic index, that means easily digestible and sugar levels will peak. So those people who are consuming the higher glycemic index food like thumbs up, these cool drinks, right? So they are directly sugars, and if you are consuming it, it may lead to the diabetes. So that's what the author want to tell, that please consume those foods which are low glycemic index foods, right? Then there also a concept got emerged from this as it was linked to the diabetes, right? So I will show you the study also, the few points that study has made. Before that, let's understand the two type of diabetes as well. There are two type of diabetes. In diabetes type 1, there are two types, diabetes type 1 and then type 2. Those people who are facing or experiencing the type 1 diabetes, there is no insulin at all. You can see here, there is only a glucose, but there is no insulin at all. So if there is a complete absence of production of insulin, those are categorized as type 1 diabetes. And type 2 diabetes is where they were able to produce the insulin. You can see these blue color balls. So they were able to produce the insulin, but our body was not able to digest that insulin, not able to utilize that generated insulin. That is leading to the type 2 diabetes. Both are dangerous. The insulin has to be properly utilized by our body. One is complete absent of production of insulin. Second one is, even after producing insulin, our body is not able to utilize that insulin. So this is a type 2 diabetes, right? This may be also asked in the exam. Then what is the study has proved? What does the study has proved? The findings has said that consuming low glycemic index food like apple, right, and low glycemic load diets, that means having low glycemic index, can prevent the development of type 2 diabetes. So type 2 diabetes means which is caused for not utilizing the insulin properly by our body. So if you are consuming low glycemic index foods, then our body will prevent insulin or the diabetes type 2. And also those glycemic index is also higher among those individuals who are having the higher body mass index, so who are having heavy weight, so they will face this heat of consuming these glycemic index foods. So consuming the higher glycemic index foods with higher weight, then they will face more extreme diabetes case. So that's what the study want to tell us. Any doubts in this? So what we have seen here, we have seen, let me come back to the context as well again. As I said, there is a strong link between higher glycemic index diet and diabetes. So just now we have discussed, if you are consuming high glycemic index foods, it is causing the diabetes. That's what the study has proved. Yeah, any doubts? I hope there is no doubt. Let's move to the next article. Please feel free to ask the questions if you are having any query. No need to worry about someone else or seeing your messages and all. See, the people who are very curious or willing to learn from their mistakes will prevail in the ultimate this competition. It's not about the exams, but in the life itself, I'm telling. So you have to be very curious, and no need to worry about someone may feel bad if you ask questions, right? So if it is not clear, you can always ask the question here, right? Next one, Mangal Pande, right? So why we have taken this article? Mangal Pande was hanged to death on April 8th, 1856. So that's why we have taken this article, right? So he was hanged to death by the Britishers. And there was a very good article in the Indian Express explaining about his role and history and all, right? So we will be discussing the same article. Before his role, let's understand the background, right? So Britishers has brought lot of policies which are not favorable to us in terms of land revenue or any other policies. Take example of Zamindari system, Raitwari system, Mahalwari system. All these land revenue policies are very harmful to the farmers. So they will not able to gain the profit, right? And also one such policy is the doctrine of lapse introduced by the Dalhousie. So Dalhousie was the Governor General of India during 1852 to 56. So he introduced the doctrine of lapse. So this concept was introduced. According to this concept, whoever the already existing ruler in India, there was a lot of princely states, more than 600, 700 princely states were there. So whoever is not having the legal heir, that means their own children, if there is no such children born to them, the kings who are already ruling, then that kingdom will be depended based on the willingness of the British, whether they want to give it to them or whether they want to take towards the British India. It is decided by the Britishers, not that person. If you are having your own son or daughter, then fine. But if you are not having the your own son, right, then it will be taken, the land will be taken into the Britishers' hand. That is called as the doctrine of lapse. Okay, so they have occupied most of the regions, but Awadh was having a legal heir. So already proper son was there for this Begum who is already ruling here. There is a proper son. So doctrine of lapse cannot be deployed here. That's what the concept, right? Only if there is no proper or legal son, then only you will be taken. But this Awadh region is having the legal heir, but the Dalhousie, the Governor General in the 1856, he has taken this territory. This Awadh princely state was taken into the British hands, citing the reason that there was no proper administration, right? So there was no rules and regulations framed by Britishers. They just said that there is no proper administration that is happening in the Awadh region. That's why we are taking this into our hands, they have said. And this has made the resentment among the people. Most of the Awadh, the people from Awadh, in each family, at least one person was working as a soldier in the British military as well as police, right? So almost all the families in Awadh has their people or family, one of the persons were working with the Britishers. And this taking back or taking the Awadh into the British hands without proper reason was resented by the people there. They have faced a lot of struggles in terms of revenue, in terms of administration after going into the hands of Britishers. So that's why all the people of, or the Britishers, or the what you call soldiers from India, they have given 14,000 petitions to the British, right? So the sepoys who are of Awadh region, right, they have filed petitions with the Britishers that you should give the sufficient powers. The revenue that you are collecting is very harsh impact on the farmers. They have filed a lot of petitions, right? But there is no result. They haven't replied for anything, and British, they themselves was saying whatever the reasons they want. So there is no proper explanation. During that time, there was also one more event that was happened, right? So there was a new introduction of rifles, the guns that are used during the maintaining law and order. In those guns, they need to use the bullets, right? They want to use the cartridges, then only they can fire the gun. And it was said that these cartridges that they are using in the gun were made of the fat from cow and pig. Cow was very much sacred to Hindus, and the pig is very superstitious for Islam people, right? So these two were being propelled or propagated among the sepoys. They came to know that these cartridges were made from pig and cow fat. So they have, they did not accept the Britishers' orders to fire or use those guns, right? So in that time, Mangal Pande, who was the same, like already having the discontent, and this was introduced, so this was not liked by him, and he fired the senior sergeant major. He fired the British major and killed, right? So because of that, he was hanged on April 8, 1857. So sorry, it is not 1856, it is 1857. On April 8, 1857, he was hanged because he has fired this senior sergeant, the British major, right? So that's what happened, and we all know, see, Mangal Pande is not American, okay? So if you are not aware about the history, you may feel American is the Mangal Pande. American is not Mangal Pande, he just represented in the movie, right? So you can watch it, it is a very good movie. Mangal Pande was born on July 19th, 1827 in the UP, Uttar Pradesh, or United Province that time, Balia district. So this is also important to remember, like in chronology they may ask, right? And then he joined in the East Indian Company as a sepoy under the 6th Company of 34th Bengal Native Infantry. This was asked. He belonged to which infantry? Something, in the many exams it was asked, right? So he belongs to 34th Batch Bengal Native Infantry, right? So this is also important fact. So he refused to fire, and then he fired a sergeant major. He killed, and finally he was hanged to death. After that, the mutiny has increased more. After his death only, the Sepoy mutiny of 1857 has propelled. Most of the people who are from this Awadh have moved in a group, and they went to Delhi, and finally they have attacked most of the British officers. I am not discussing all the 1857 revolt, only specific to Mangal Pande, how his death has impacted the soldiers to conduct the 1857 revolt against the British, right? So this is about the facts. So from the exam point of view, you need to know about the facts related to the Mangal Pande and what is the role in propelling the 1857 revolt, his facts which are relevant for our exams. Any doubt in this? Great. I hope there is no doubt. Now let's move to the next one, environment as well as international relations article, right? Botswana elephant problem, right? So let's understand the context. Botswana has threatened the Germany country. Botswana is a country in Africa, that they will send 20,000 elephants. They have threatened that this Botswana will send 20,000 elephants to Germany. So why they have said, and what is the background? Let's understand. The context is this, right? It may look funny, but it is a very serious problem, right? Why Botswana want to send 20,000 elephants to Germany? the statement came after Germany proposed that they will pass a strict regulation related to the import of the trophies. Trophies means any part of the animal. Any part of animal, body part I mean, any body part of animal is called as trophy. So Germany want to strictly ban the import of trophies, the body parts of the animals into its into territories, right? Germany territories, I mean the borders. But Botswana is against that, banning those trophies sending to the Germany, right? We will see that why this is important and why Germany is a big country in importing those things. You will understand. Just understand the context, connect it afterwards when we are discussing it, right? Now, understanding the background. You can observe this African map here. Here we have Botswana, right? So here we have Botswana and then Namibia, Angola. See, African countries, most of the African countries, if not all, are always facing civil wars, right? So they don't have proper food, there is a lot of fights, militants. Therefore, Botswana was one of the country which was in peaceful nature. So Botswana have a properly democratically elected government, right? So there is a very least conflicts that are happening in the Botswana, which is a good thing, fine. For till that it was good. That's why almost all the elephants which are residing in the Angola and Namibia, understand this, elephants are very intellectual animals. They know what is happening in the surrounding region. Accordingly, they will take the steps. So there is a conflict region happening in Namibia and Angola. All the elephants, they have moved towards the Botswana. Since last 1 or 2 decades, they started moving because there is a relatively safer habitat for the animals. So they have moved towards Botswana. This is one thing. Second thing, in 2013, Botswana has passed a law that no animal should be harmed. All the trophies were banned to export. So they have strictly regulated that there should not be any impact to the elephants. So this is a good sign, but let's understand, let's know what will happen in the future. But as of now, understand we are going back to 2013, right? So there was a law and then elephants are coming here and settling properly, right? So that time it was a good thing that was happened to the Botswana because many animals are coming to the country. So it will also propel the tourism, right? So this is the background. And in 1960s, approximately 10,000 elephants are there in Botswana, and currently 1.2 lakh elephants are there. In 1960s, it was just 10,000, but now there are 1.2 lakh elephants in the Botswana country, right? Botswana border, especially in the northern Botswana. So earlier it was seen as a positive thing, but now because of the rampant increase of the elephants, Botswana started facing the issue. What type of issues? That's we will discuss here, right? First thing, elephants has occupied 40% of Botswana territory, right? So 1.2 lakh elephants approximately spread through 40% of Botswana region. That is one problem. Second thing, it has increased the spike in human-animal conflict. So you all know, even in Kerala recently, we have seen lot of such news, right? Man-animal conflict, because the number of animals has kept increasing, right? And then they went into the farms and other water regions which are people are using regularly, right? So it has propelled the man-animal conflict, and then there was a lot of death happened in the Botswana region because of the increase in elephants. So this issue has come. Now they have reversed it. Once they were protecting the elephants, now they have reversed it. First, they have donated excess elephant or the elephants to other countries, but it is a very least 500, 600 only. And they have also started promoting the exploitation of what these trophies like ivory. Ivory can be developed from the elephant tusk, the teeth we call, right? So those has been promoted for commercial exploitation. They have started commercial exploitation of elephant tusks, and then they are exporting it to the other countries. Ivory is used in various purposes, so they started exporting it. So this is a reversal that has done. Botswana earlier they were protecting elephant, now they are exploiting the elephants because there was an increase in numbers, right? and this was resented. This was taken away in 2019. The hunting, all these things, laws that have been passed, taken back. Now they are allowing for commercial exploitation of elephants. And approximately $5 million in 2021 was earned from this export of the elephant products, right? So this was happened with the Botswana. Now the Western countries like USA or Germany, they are very liberal in nature, and those who are also propagating the animal welfare, they went against this. They have resented it that you should not do this. Even if your elephants are increasing, you should not do this because this is against the animal rights. So they have started it, and Germany has commented recently that we will strictly regulate the import of the elephant trophies, right, or the tuskers that coming into our country. And Germany is one of the largest importer of the ivory as well as the elephant trophies. So as Germany is strictly regulating, so it will impact the Botswana country because they can't send it to those country about the or elephant trophies. So that's why the president has said that we will send 20,000 elephants into your country, then you will know what is the difficulties that we are facing, right? So that's what happened with all this issue, right? Because Germany is the biggest importer. This is the issue. So question can be asked in which countries recently, Botswana is also the largest country with elephants. So the largest elephants are located in Botswana, and which borders it is locating. So such type of questions can be asked in the exam, right? Any doubts in this? Yeah. So we have understood why the 20,000 elephants want to be sent into Germany because of their ban, right? Next article, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity. So it is a factual small article we can complete in a sooner way. So Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity. Why we have taken this article? This was taken from PIB, Press Information Bureau. There was an article that Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity will organize a clean energy investors forum in Singapore. In the next coming few days, this organization is going to establish clean energy investor summit. So now you all know we are moving towards a clean energy. From the coal-based energy, we are moving to the solar energy, wind energy, and many other cleaner energy like biodiesels and all, right? So this organization want to encourage companies to invest in clean energies, not on the non-renewable energies. So that's why we have taken this article. Now, what is this Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity? Let's go a little bit background. During the COVID times especially, there was a lockdown, completely blocked across the regions. So there was no transfers of people, money or goods. So almost all the borders has been closed. And most of the countries were depending on China for raw material. So for any good like semiconductor, whatever may be, masks. So all the raw materials, mostly China is supplying it to the world nations. And as China has closed its borders and they are not able to send these goods, almost all the countries in the world has affected by the lack of supply from the Chinese, right? So supply chain disruptions has happened. Supply chain means starting from producing the good till the consumption, what are all the events involved. So all this like transport, storage, all these things has been impacted because of the Chinese and some South Korean, many other countries who are giving the raw materials, and they have closed the border. So obviously it has affected the world. So after the COVID, COVID years, especially in 2022, all the countries, not all the countries, selective important countries like India, USA and all, they have met and decided that this should not happen in the future. Even if there is a critical situation, there should be a free flow of raw material or goods, because world's nations should not struggle. So they have come together and they have launched Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity to synchronize or to free flow of the goods and services from one region to other region. So it seeks to strengthen the economic partnership between the countries. It was launched in May 2022. Very, very important. The objective why they were launched and which year it was launched is also important. So total 14 regional partners of Indo-Pacific. So Indo-Pacific means the region which is bordering in Indian Ocean and then Pacific Ocean. So the 14 regional partners have launched this, right, for global goods and easy trade between the nations. So this is the objective, and the general objectives are there: enhancing resilience, sustainability, inclusiveness, economic growth, fairness. So these are all very generic terms. Ultimate aim is to free flow of goods and service between the countries, and it should not affect the people. So that is the objective. And this allow members to negotiate between, it is not a free trade agreement. All the goods should be easily flow from one country to other country. It is called as a free trade. It should not have any negative impact. But this is not a free trade agreement. Rather, whatever the countries that are involved in the organization, they can come together, discuss, and accordingly they can take the measures. But it is not the free trade agreement. Free trade agreement means two countries will sign the free trade agreement. So the goods from country A to country B should not be stopped with excess taxes and all, right? Similarly, goods and services from country B should be free flow towards country A. But because if we allow this, in case if we allow this free trade, this country may be affected because the cheaper goods are sending from A to B. So the producers here the producers who are here may be impacted. So that may be result in the free trade agreement. So this Indo-Pacific Framework Agreement is not a free trade agreement, but allows the countries to discuss and accordingly they can take the measures, right? So there are certain negotiations signed under the agreement: supply chain resilience, clean energy, decarbonization infrastructure, taxation, anti-corruption, fair and resilient trade. So these are the 4 things that they have accepted under the agreement, right? So these are the facts that need to be remembered. You need to understand why it was launched, that is the context, and then what are all the countries that are part. So you can see here 14 countries are there. No China, that you need to understand here. China is absent, right? India, Australia, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, United States, New Zealand, Indonesia, Korea, Brunei, and then Fiji. So these are the 14 countries which are part. China is not part of this initiative, right? So these are the factual article that you need to remember. Any doubt in this? Yeah. So let's move to the next article, Igla-S. Again, this is a factual one, so your efforts need to be more, you need to remember more. There is no concept as such like solar eclipse and all, you need to remember the facts. Indian Army has received the first batch of 24 Russian made Igla-S missile defense system. So it is made by Russia, one is important thing, right? And it is a man-portable air defense. Man-portable means it can be carried by man, right? Usually such type of heavy weapons are carried by machines, the tracks or whatever the trucks that can carry. But this Igla-S can be man-portable. That means the person can carry it with the hand. So you can see here, yeah, you can see here, right? So these terms you need to understand, that India has bought 24 Russian made Igla-S, and then it is made by Russia, and then it is also man portable, which can carry the man, which can carry by the humans, right? So this point we have already discussed about few more points related to the Igla-S. It is also known as SA-24 Grinch in the West. In the Western countries like USA, UK, those countries call it as a SA-24 Grinch, right? So this name is also important. It entered service in Russia in 2004, way back in 2004 it was developed. And what is it that is important, right? So that I haven't discussed here, I'm telling you now, understand for what purpose this machine is used. This is a air defense system. So if there is any drone going on and it is from Pakistan, we can fire and it will collapse. Also we can attack the helicopters that are traveling at the lower lengths. It is not for higher heights, but for lower heights, drones, helicopters, we can attack with the human interventions, right? So this is the objective. It can be fired by any individual or crew to bring down any of the enemy aircraft. That is the objective, right? So it can neutralize any of the targets that are roaming around over our region, airspace. and it is an effective up to 6 kilometers. So from here where we are standing till 6 kilometers it can be attacked, but mostly the complex, if there is a complex system in the air system, then it can only be reached to the 3.5 kilometers height, right? It has maximum 6 kilometers but more efficient at 3.5 kilometers height from the land, right? So these are the facts about the Igla-S. Any doubt? This is a factual in nature. Let's move to the next article. Climate change as a fundamental right. The context is Supreme Court has announced that right against the adverse effect of climate change as a fundamental right. So there is an increase in temperature, heat waves, right? So we have a number of industries which are affecting our climate and leading to the climate change affecting the humans. So this process which is affecting the humans is the fundamental right against, understand here, right against. So to protect against the climate change is a fundamental right, what the Supreme Court has said a few days back, right? So before knowing all the detailed discussion, let's understand what actually are fundamental rights. I'm not discussing the whole polity fundamental rights here, it takes more hours. Just that under part 3 of Indian Constitution we have a part 3, we have 22 parts, and out of that part 3 talks about the fundamental rights. So fundamental rights are very basic rights given to the citizens of the country to protect themselves against the government. So if once the government is elected, it will stay for 5 years and it may take whatever the measures they want. The people who are ruling can do whatever they want, right? So that is prevented by the fundamental rights. So these are the very essential rights of the individuals to have a liberty, freedom within the country. So that is the concept of fundamental rights. So they are very basic for any governance of the democracy, right? So it was made part of our part 3 of the Constitution. So beyond that I am not discussing any fundamental rights, it's take lot of time. Only that we have fundamental rights under part 3 from article 12 to 35. There are number of articles, number of fundamental rights. All these things are categorized into 6 types. Right to equality between article 14 to 18, right to freedom article 19 to 22, right against exploitation article 23, 24, right to freedom of religion, our own religion maintaining, right, 25 to 28, cultural and education rights, right to constitution remedies. So these are the 6 parts of the fundamental rights. Fine. So what we have discussed? We have discussed fundamental rights because Supreme Court has added one more provision into fundamental rights, the new provision, new interpretation. That's why we are discussing this. And what did the Supreme Court has said about this? So Supreme Court have said that the right to protect against the climate change is a fundamental right under Article 14 as well as Article 21. And how they have derived this? The conclusion that this is also, even if it is not directly mentioned, see, this right against climate change has not mentioned directly in the Constitution. But how Supreme Court have interpreted that? Because under Article 21, there was already a pronouncement made by the Supreme Court. And Article 21 talks about right to life. The word mentioned in the Article 21 is right to life. So right to life is a broader concept. Article 21, right? Article 21, right to life. Now, under this provision, Supreme Court has once announced that right of environment, clean environment. Right of clean environment is a part of Article 21. They have earlier interpreted that. And under this particular provision, a small observation was included, Supreme Court 2 days back, that right against protecting climate change is also part of right to clean environment under Article 21, right to life, and also under Article 14 to have equality among the individuals, which is climate change may affect the differences and it may reduce the equalities among the people. So this is what the Supreme Court has observed from the right against the climate change as a fundamental right under Article 14 and Article 21. right? It also talked about the solar power, that we need to shift to the solar power, because in the future our India alone will consume 25% of global energy. So if we are using coals, that may affect our environment. So please try to shift towards the solar energy. That is one observation. And then there is a lot of air pollution developed through industries, factories which are using the coal. So that will also has to be reduced in the future. So solar energy becomes important. And finally, declining groundwater levels because of various resources. So we should use the solar energy so that we are not using the hydropower innumerably. So it can also protect the environment. So this is what the Supreme Court have observed. Any doubt in this? The right against climate change as a fundamental right. So we have seen the context what Supreme Court has pronounced, and then we have seen the basic fundamental rights and the constitutional provisions, and then what Supreme Court has observed right against the climate change as part of Article 14 and Article 21. So this is what the Supreme Court has pronounced. So that's what about this right against the climate change as a fundamental right. Any doubts? Okay, thank you. Next one, the last article for today, Master Shipyard Repair Agreement. See, India has a very good coastline, right? We have more than 7,500 kilometers of coastline, and the ships from various regions, it can be from USA, the ships may come into the Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, right? And some other ships from Japan, so they can come into the Indian waters. And there are friendly countries. USA is a friendly country to India. Japan is a friendly country to India, right? So whenever the ships are traveling from this region, if there is an obstruction, they need to come near and then they need to get a repair, right? Else they cannot move ahead. So that's why only few countries allow each other to have a repair agreements between the countries, and USA now has made Cochin Shipyard Limited. We have a shipyard in the Kochi. USA has designated as one of the Master Shipyard Repair Agreement, as part of Master Shipyard Repair Agreement. So any US ship, if as damaged, they can go to the Kochi shipyard, they can pay the money, of course, right? So and then repair the shipyards. So this is the agreement. They may ask you, Master Shipyard Repair Agreement is related to what? So it is nothing but US ships getting repair in the Indian waters. So that is the agreement. Now Cochin Shipyard has made part of the agreement. Earlier India and USA has signed this agreement between the 2 years, and it will be renewed for every 5 years. Don't understand in a two-way. Indian ships are not allowed into USA under the agreement. Only USA ships which are in the Indian Ocean region can come to India, and then they can get repair here, right? It will be renewed for every 5 years. That is the agreement about. Now earlier the one more shipyard, that is Larsen and Turbo, right? Larsen and Tubro, and then Musgaon Dock shipyards. There are two shipyards which were already signed with the US. At Kattupalli, right? Kattupalli near Chennai was the first shipyard under the Larsen and Tubro, and then Musgaon Dock Shipyard Limited in the Calcutta. So these two shipyards were already acting as a repair centers for USA. Now Cochin shipyard has added as a repaired one. So that is the small article about which one has recently added into the list, that may ask, and then they may ask you about Master Shipyard Repair Agreement is between which countries. That's how the questions are framed. Very basic thing, right? So that is the articles for today. Now let's see the factual pointers before solving the practice questions, right? So first factual pointer, okay, this is a very important thing. We have celebrated Ugadi yesterday, right? And different states have different New Years. So we have a different calendars. We have a Gregorian calendar which we are following, right, all throughout the world, and we have a calendars with the various states. Like for every different culture, we have a number of New Years, right? So there are different New Years celebrated, traditional New Years celebrated by different states. You need to remember these things for exam, right? So Telangana and then Andhra Pradesh celebrate Telugu New Year as Ugadi, of course Karnataka as well. So these three countries celebrating New Year with the name Ugadi, and then Tamil Nadu celebrate with the name Puttandu. Very, very important because they have asked many times in the matching and all. And Kerala celebrated as Vishu, and within Karnataka we have a Tulunadu, small region bordering Kerala and Karnataka. Those celebrated as Bisu Parba. Bisu Parba. Maharashtra, Gudi Padwa, and then Madhya Pradesh, Chaitra Navaratri, Chhattisgarh same, Jharkhand same, Uttar Pradesh same, Rajasthan same. So all these states have same name, that is Chaitra Navaratri. Next, Natun Varsh in Gujarat, right? So Kutch in within Gujarat we have a Ashdi Bij. So these are the festivals celebrated in these states. And in Odisha we celebrate it as a Bishubha Shankranti, and then in Bengal we have a name with Boisakhi, right? And then some part of Jharkhand celebrate as a Jur Sital. These are all facts just to make you know everything, so you have to by heart them. So Himachal Pradesh, Basoa, Punjab again Baisakhi, Haryana same, Bikoti in Uttarakhand, and then north you can remember Assam one, Rangoli, Bisu. So we have a number of names. You have to Losar in Sikkim. Yeah, this is important, has been asked. So these are all the new years of different states you need to remember. Next one, Sagar Kavach exercise has happened between various forces, coastal security forces in Lakshadweep region a few days back. So they may ask you what is Sagar Kavach. It is a coastal security exercise that happened in Lakshadweep Islands between Indian forces. Next, so next one more important fact, yeah, India got control of the Switte port in Myanmar. Control in the sense it is not the owner, but just we can handle it whatever the operations we need. This is the second port after Chabahar in Iran. In Iran we have already a Chabahar port which is under our own control in maintenance, commercial activities. The same way Switte port was taken for commercial activities. It is not for military bases and all, just for commercial activities. This is the second port. The last fact was a new satellite, first private military satellite called TSAT-1A. So it is India's first military grade geospatial satellite entirely built by the private sector, and it was built by Tata Advanced Systems Limited. So Tata owners has built this new one, which is a completely built by the private sector, and it is a Earth observation satellite for military purpose as well. It was launched through Kennedy Space Center in Florida by SpaceX, the Elon Musk's rocket system. So it was launched in USA, not in India, but for purpose of India. It weighs less than 50 kgs, right? So these are the facts that you need to remember about this TSAT-1A. Who built and from where it was launched, what is the purpose, that will be sufficient for our exam, right? Okay. Now let's move to the practice questions from the today's articles. First article, with regard to traditional New Years celebrated by different regions in India, right? So just now we have seen the map and I have told you this particular thing as well. With regard to traditional New Year celebrated by different regions in India, Bisu Parba is celebrated in. Bisu Parba is celebrated in Assam and Bengal regions, Tulunadu region in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu region, Punjab region. Yes, very good. So Assam and Bengal region we have a Boisakhi, right? So this is not the answer. Assam we have a Bihu, right? So Assam is Bihu, not Bisu Parba. Next, Tamil Nadu we have Vishu, right? No. Vishu is for, yeah, Puttandu. For Tamil Nadu, Vishu is for Kerala, right? Next one, Punjab region, Boisakhi. So this all are wrong. And in Tulnadu region of Karnataka, it is called as Bisu Parba. So Sahana has answered, Santosh, and then Ramya Oindila. So few students have confused. Yes, of course, this is the first time you are looking after the map. It is very difficult, I understand, but try to remember them. This is some unique one, that's why I have asked the question. See here, Bisuparba in Tulnadu region, right? Yeah, next question. With reference to glycemic index, which of the following statements is wrong? So out of the 4 statement, which one is wrong? They are asking. It is a rating system for foods containing vitamins. So that is the first statement. Second, it shows how quickly each food affects human body's blood sugar level when the food is eaten. That is the second statement. Third statement, fruits and vegetables in general has the low glycemic index. The last option, all the statements are wrong. So what is the answer for this? Second question. You may be not know very clearly about this, right? But anyway, you will be knowing these 2 things that we have discussed. Second one, it shows how quickly each food affects human body's blood sugar level when the food is eaten. Yes, this is correct, right? So if it is higher, then it has a easily digestible, right? So the first statement, it is a rating system for food containing vitamins, they have said. No, it compares the carbohydrates. Yes, very good, Ramya. Most of you have answered it correctly, right? So answer is A. Fruits and vegetables, yes, they have very low glycemic index. Yes, all of you are correct. Next one, yes, now I want answer for this particular question. We'll see who will answer this question. Okay, so this is a conceptual one. Which of the following statements are correct about solar eclipse? So we are talking about the solar eclipse. Solar eclipse occurs during a new moon. So this is the first statement. Second statement, solar eclipse can be seen by only those regions of earth which are having the daytime. So this is the second statement. Third statement, solar eclipse can be prevented using the telescopes and other man-made instruments. I want answer for this particular question because this is a conceptual and a difficult one, I felt. So let's see who will answer. I'll give you 1 minute time because this is a very conceptual one to understand. If you have pen and paper, you can also put and you can answer this. Very good, very good. So let's see this. Solar eclipse can be prevented using telescopes and other man-made instruments. No, we cannot. It is a natural event occurring between moon, earth and sun according to the alignment. So nobody can hinder those things. We have no such technology to stop such things, and in future also it is almost difficult, right? So 3 is eliminated. Now first one, solar eclipse occur during the new moon. Yes, right. So during the new moon it occurs. I have showed you the diagram. Solar eclipse can be seen by the only those regions of earth which are having a daytime. Yes, this is correct because in night times there is no concept of light at all. So there is no development of solar eclipse in the night times. It is only for the daytime where sunlight is hindered, right? So this second statement is also correct. Very good. All of you have answered. Santosh, Srinath, right? And Dalrikor, Malini, Trida, everyone, Oindila, Rajkumar, Ramya, Swarupa, Sahana, all of you have answered very good. I thought most of you will go with the wrong answer, right? Next question. In India, right to clean environment is a. In India, right to clean environment is a legal right under Environmental Protection Act, constitutional right but not any fundamental right, fundamental right under Article 21, fundamental right under Article 14. So what is the answer for this? Very direct question we have discussed. Right to clean environment. Partially we have discussed in the context, right? Yes, very good. So this is not legal right or constitutional not, but fundamental right. So it is a fundamental right under Article 21, right? So this applicable for right against climate change, which was recently interpreted, Article 14 and 21. But this right to clean environment was a part of, yes, all of you are correct, under fundamental right Article 21. Last question for today: which of the following systems or statements is correct about Igla-S system? So last question, it is developed, they are asking about correct statement, okay, correct one they are asking. It is developed by United States of America, first statement. It can only be fired from an aeroplane to bring down an enemy aircraft. So that is the second statement. It has an effective range up to 60 kilometers. It is a man-portable air defense system. So out of these four, which one is correct they are asking? So what is the answer? First one, no, it is Russia, right? So option A is eliminated. It can only be fired from aeroplane, no, it is a man portable which can be fired even by the man. It has an effective range of 60 kilometers, no, it has 6 kilometers, right? And it is a man portable device. Very direct question. Yes, yes, yeah, very good. So that is for today's session. I hope you have enjoyed. We have a very good conceptual articles as well as some mix up of factual things. So tomorrow again we have a Ramzan. Wish you all a very happy Ramzan. After that we will discuss, on the 12th we will discuss the current affairs of tomorrow as well as day after tomorrow, right? So have a great evening. Happy studies.